If you're serious about getting healthy this year, you're going to love Kudos Wellness Wednesdays. And today we are sharing an interview from Hurley Medical Center to get a better idea on the different diets and things that you should know to really get on track for healthy, happy living. Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth Marasco with Kudos Magazine, and today I have a special guest that is going to help us get on track with healthy, happy eating. And if you have found yourself maybe eating out at restaurants too long and not getting the right food, you don't want to miss this video.
I know a lot of folks are getting takeout these days, a lot more a lot more often than maybe they were before. So when it comes to, eating healthy, it's really great if as much as we can to kind of cook from home. But a lot of times there's a disconnect when we're wanting to cook and we're kind of scouring through like Pinterest or, elsewhere on the internet, just trying to find some healthy recipes and saying to myself, like, what is healthy? What am I looking for in these recipes so that I know that what I'm eating is something that's going to be good for me? So a couple just, easy tips that I have for finding something that's healthy is first going to be looking for recipes that have healthy ingredients. Lots of veggies, especially those ones that are different colors. Like if you look at the picture of the meal or the plate and you see a lot of different colors, like reds and greens and yellows and whites, lots of different colors in there. Having that good variety makes sure that we're checking all those boxes and getting, lots of good different nutrients, which is kind of what we're going for. So we're looking for a lot of those. We're looking for whole grains. We're looking for some lean cuts of, meat or lean proteins instead of the higher fat ones like our sausages and bacon. Those are good every once in a while, I'm not going to lie. But, for the most part, we want to try and stick with the leaner cuts of protein. And on the flip side, kind of looking for ones that have less of the unhealthy, or less healthy ingredients like those, bacon and summer sausage and a lot of added sugars and lots of fats and salts and that kind of thing. When it comes to actually prepping and buying the ingredients, if we are making like a soup, for example, and we're using some chicken broth, maybe opt for the low sodium chicken broth instead of the regular chicken broth. If we look at the label, I think, you'll find that chicken broth has a surprising a lot of salt. It'll be almost 3,000 milligrams, which is more than what we need for an entire day. Yeah, it's quite a lot. And then looking for recipes that use a leaner cooking method. So instead of frying or, heavy sauteing, doing something that's baked or broiled or grilled, those leaner kind of cooking methods that don't add that extra fat to it. Also want to be careful of those high, calorie toppings that go on top. So like if we're making a healthy chili, but then we're throwing like a mountain of cheddar cheese on top, want to be a little bit careful with that. And, mixing it up, having a good variety, making different things every week as much as we can and not getting in those ruts, help keep us nice and healthy and making sure that we're getting all the good nutrients that we need. When we do a cooking demo, I'm going to try to find something that's going to be plant-based, and as much as we can choose plant-based, that's going to be great. We don't have to go full vegetarian or full vegan or anything like that, but a couple times a week in a meatless meal definitely going to help, because plant-based protein is really kind of coming out in the research as something that's really good for our heart health and preventing certain types of cancers and all kinds of good benefits. So those are just a couple tips I have. Even if it's just prepping part of a meal or, even just doing some of it is really helpful. So like if we find ourselves, if we're like, again, making that soup and it's simmering and we have, a little bit of time to kill, maybe chop some veggies that you're going to be having later in the week so that you don't have to do it later. And just doing little bits and pieces as you kind of have time can really kind of help save some time in the long run.
So something that I recently started doing is sometimes I would have extra peppers or something or onions. I've started cutting it all the way and then the extras freezing so that when I go onions, I don't have to worry about, I've got to chop the onions and do this. I just
Right,
take it
right.
right from the freezer and throw it.
Yeah, and the other thing too to kind of keep in mind is that like frozen green beans are just as healthy. You could argue that they're healthier actually than the fresh green beans. And a lot of times you can buy those that are already like pre-chopped and pre-cut into their little like pieces. So if you're gonna have some like sauteed or roasted green beans on the side, or if you're having to throw them in a super stew or something like that, you can always buy those frozen ones. Those are really great options as well. They're all vegetables. Whether our vegetables come fresh, frozen, canned, dried, however we like them, we want to incorporate them into our diet. With frozen vegetables, you could make the argument that they're healthier than the fresh because they're frozen right after they're picked. So they retain the most nutrients instead of kind of slowly losing that nutrition on the truck while they're being sent to the grocery store. With canned, again, they are processed pretty much immediately after being picked. However, a lot of times with the canned vegetables, they do add quite a bit of salt. So again, if we can choose like a lower sodium option, those are really, those are going to be healthier choices. The really good benefit about the canned ones, especially versus like the fresh, is that they're going to have that longer shelf life. We'll be able to kind of hold on to them longer. They generally tend to be a little bit cheaper too. So if we're on a budget, those are really great options. Whereas, versus like the frozen veggies, the canned, we don't have to use all that freezer space if we're kind of tight on freezer space. But again, we do kind of want to be a little bit mindful of the salt, especially if we do have issues with like blood pressure or heart conditions. Just kind of want to be mindful of that. But for like canned tomatoes, for example, if we can get like a no salt added canned tomato, I actually prefer that for, making certain recipes, especially if it's like a homemade marinara kind of sauce. Actually canned would be preferable to something that's frozen or fresh. So they all have their benefits. They all have pros and cons. It's all about kind of making the decision that works for us and what works for us as individuals. And one diet doesn't work for everybody. So, some people may do better with choosing the fresh all the time. Some people like the frozen, some people like the canned, some people like a variety.
Canned versus frozen. I've noticed that there's a difference in the texture sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
canned corn versus frozen corn. But I think that if you can find the things that you like, you're more likely to eat it. And that's the
yes,
whole point.
Definitely.
Yeah. So something that Emily mentioned a minute ago that I'm super excited about is we are going to be hosting a live cooking demo, and Emily's taking us to her house. So we'll have more information about that. We'll be posting it on social media. So maybe you can come do a cooking demo with Emily and I and learn some of these simple tips to get on task for healthy, happy living. Yeah. Now, if people wanted to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way for them to reach you?
So my office is at the Hurley Diabetes Center. Our building is in Burton on Center Road. And, our phone number is 810-262-2310. If you need any individual counseling, we can, I can see you for that. If you need any diabetes care, of course, we're kind of specialized for that as well. So you can give us a call and, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about, setting up an appointment and getting yourself in here so that we can, kind of talk about you. I'm really excited for you to come. I'll have to remember to clean my kitchen before we do this cooking demo.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Emily. As always, it's a great joy talking to you. You're always filled with wonderful tips and insights to keep us on track in a simple way. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. And for more tips on healthy, happy living, please go sign up for your free copy of Kudos magazine to be delivered directly to your inbox. And you can go to kudosflint.com and sign up, and instantly you'll get Kudos access right to your inbox. So take care, you guys. We'll see you next time. For more tips on healthy, happy eating, sign up at kudosflint.com. We'll even send you a copy of Kudos magazine directly to your inbox, absolutely free.